Hi, welcome to the Mohua Show. My name is Mohua Chinappa and I am an author, entrepreneur, and ex-housewife. This podcast is about everything from business to technology to arts to lifestyle, but done and spoken ईमानदारी से. Hi, in today's episode, we have Jayashree Menon. Jayshree is the chairperson of FICCI Flo. So, Jayshree, you joined FICCI Flo, Federation of Ladies Organization Bengaluru chapter in 2015. And in 2022, you took charge as the chairperson of Flo Bengaluru. What kind of business do you see most, not in terms of size or B2B, but is there any type of idea you see that's been happening more in the last few years?
I think women entrepreneurs, homemakers have really turned into entrepreneurs the last 2 years. And I find, of course, food has been the biggest, business that they have. Food, there's been a lot of fashion, there's been a lot of gardening, homegrown plants, organic. These are the little things that most people have started at home. They haven't really ventured out and done bigger things because I think it was, the pandemic and the financing all becoming a problem. But these small homegrown businesses, and they have really, really taken off. I think in the last 2 years, women have really changed the way, they are from just homemakers. They've just suddenly decided, and they are actually bringing in money into the house, which I find just amazing, which is why this whole journey of financial literacy, which we'll talk about. But I find that that they've really started bringing in a lot of money, and that is mostly in food, fashion, organic, plant, even gardening. They've started doing all that, started doing it for people. So I think these small businesses have really taken off.
So honestly, I mean, when we talk to each other, I think the pandemic really changed a lot of things all around us. Of course, I mean, I feel extremely bad about how the laborers suffered really in our country. But the other part is this, that exactly like you said, there's been a lot of homegrown businesses because people are sitting at home and so many people lost their jobs. So they started thinking of what is it that they can do. Now, when we come back to, FICCI Flo Bangalore chapter, it's basically dedicated to promoting art and textiles. Is there a specific reason why?
There is no art. No, it's not at all about art and textiles. It is women, promoting women empowerment. Yeah, it could be in any field. So now we start at the grassroots level where we are skilling women from various NGOs, shelters, in any, we do cooking courses for them. It's all free. Cooking courses. This time we've even started bartending in case women are interested.
I am.
Housekeep at grassroots level more. F&Bs, housekeeping. These are the jobs that we are skilling that we are doing. We're doing masala making, stitching, making reusable menstrual pads, and also finding a way where they can sell it and make it. So that is at the grassroots levels. And at our different levels, medium, our urban level, we are doing... women already have businesses. So what we're doing is we have a mentorship program where we help scale up their business. If you don't have a business and you're planning to start one, then we also have a startup cell where we will help you to start the business. And these are all mentors from within our organization. We do get outside mentors just for that extra conversation, but otherwise our mentors, we have mentees and we help them grow their business.
So it's really interesting, when you talk to me about the grassroots level, because I would like to believe that, when women are really going out there and starting on their own at the grassroots level, because India is a patriarchal country, has there been any instances where, you can share with our listeners that, the husbands have stopped, or the male members in the home have stopped these women from going in, and is there any counseling that happens with these women?
So there were two very nice initiatives that we had started over the years. One was driving, where we started, had an MOU with the Maruti Driving School and an MOU with Nightingales, the nursing. I was very excited because I thought it would be very nice for women drivers, and they could drive us women around. And I also tied up with, the organization tied up with a cab service that drives around disabled people because we thought women would empathize, women drivers would empathize. I had 2 people who signed up for driving and 0 for nursing. Because nursing was because nurse job would require you to go out at night maybe, which the husband would not allow. Driving, same thing. How can you drive people around? It's not a great job. So we actually had people for the driving who signed up, 18 people, and only two actually completed and got their license, which was very, very disappointing for us. Nursing, one entire year went by, and then I had to cancel the MOU. We didn't have one nurse who signed up. There were a few who wanted to come in from the Northeast, but we were focusing on Karnataka. So it didn't happen. So it was very, very disappointing. And their story was like we were not allowed to. So it was really very disappointing for us.
So maybe what you've got planned quite a few events now coming up, with the Bangalore chapter, because knowing the person that you are, I'm sure you've got this whole list already happening. Is there anything that's exciting that's going to happen? You can share with us.
Okay. So in terms of events, so since we are 800 plus members,
Okay.
it's always been very hard, and we have noticed that over the last 2-3 years to get all 800 at one event. One, they don't show up. One, we have to cap it when we don't have a big enough venue. And plus, the last 2 years are asking for smaller groups. So this year, I decided since an 800 members, hardly, there are lots who don't know each other. So I've decided to make 8 different networking verticals based on interest. Focus is financial literacy. So that is, everyone has to attend those workshops and seminars that I'm having. Then I'm having a marketing vertical, a professional services vertical, lifestyle, fashion, entertainment, but art and culture. I also have a book club, travel gourmet club, fitness, wellness. So people are joining these verticals based on interest, which is they're smaller groups, 150, 200 people. So when that vertical has an event, that those people will land up. So my idea here is at the end of the year, you've learned something, you've attended workshops, and you also know about 200 people more than you did when this next year. You will know 200 more people than you did, and you have networked at least among them.
Yeah, which is so amazing, because otherwise it's so difficult to meet other people. And this is like a really great platform where you meet a whole lot of other people with whom you can kind of join hands and do stuff. So also, what has been the biggest challenges, especially post the third wave now, getting sponsors, So how do you plan to tackle this, considering this is a challenge for brands across the spectrum? How are you planning to cross this barrier?
So sponsorship is going to continue being hard. It's definitely not something the last 2 years has been very, very, they've hardly, chairpersons have hardly got anything actually. So this year, I have started. Well, one is to approach the people who have already sponsored us, so continuing sponsorship. Uh, and now we are also, if anyone who gives us money is also eligible for the 80. So what happens is it can be considered a donation. So 50% they do get back. So to that extent, we are hoping that we'll get a lot more money. We have to actually appeal to organizations that focus on women as their clients, which I'm guessing are jewelry, fashion houses, corporates that deal with, like Nike and things. So these are the kind of sponsorships that we have to look at. Um, we appeal. We can just hope that we get, but it's not easy.
But there is a huge wave right now where, we do see a lot of media spaces. We see a lot of shows. We see a lot of space given to women entrepreneurs. So I think, going forward, it will slowly just start getting narrower and narrower.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. So your primary vision has been to improve financial literacy among women. What do you think is the biggest challenge? Because to me, I think just yesterday I was doing an Instagram live and I was talking about how financial literacy is one of the most important and the first step for women empowerment, because that's where women, when they try and really go out there and get out of an abusive relationship, get out of an abusive home, or get out of just, a situation that's challenging, all you need is money. Yeah. So what are the things that you have in mind for financial literacy?
So this started because, again, like I said, homegrown business had come up, and I wanted them to do something with their money instead of just giving it to their partner and saying, "Now you put it in the bank for me, or you handle my money for me." I wanted them to be able to take an independent decision as to what they could do with their money. Even if they were getting 20,000, I wanted that 5,000 to be invested wisely, what in whatever way you felt. So the plan here is to have different workshops on various, like whether it's settlements of debts, how you can take smaller loans, planning for your retirement. What about legal? Like, you are separated. What are your rights financially when you leave? Um, just generally all of that. It's just how to invest in various. It could be digital. It could be what is gold. What for you? Is it land for you? Is it art for you? So just everything. It's going. This whole year is going to cover everything financially. Not. It's going to be simple that we can understand, because I'm going to assume that there's a very small margin of women who understand finance in a huge way. Most of us, let's be honest, don't really understand finance. So I'm going to start small. So by the end of the year, they're definitely more knowledge and they can take independent financial decisions. That's
Yeah,
my
it's
hope.
it's really interesting when you say that most of us don't understand finance. I think we're just not encouraged to understand finance.
And we've not taken much of an interest also,
Yeah.
because we just assume they will take care of it for us. But
Yes,
also in the last 2 years, sadly, there have been so many deaths just suddenly, and the women are just left not knowing what to do.
exactly.
They've lost the person who handles it for them, and they are at a loss. Now, why should you be at a loss? You should be prepared. So I encourage women to know where invest if their husbands have made investments for them so far. Where is it kept? Where are all your documents? As simple as that, kept for your various investments. Start understanding it today.
So you have women who are in the financial business who are there as mentors for
Oh yeah,
people.
our
Yeah.
my finance team, financial literacy team, is
Okay.
run by two very very capable women who already have this going called Paid Forward, and they're just excellent. And they have a very nice plan in place, and which of course includes outside speakers and everything. It's also to make it more interesting for the others also. So they have a whole plan in place, which is very exciting.
So I need to come back to, because you said financial literacy is one of your, is one of your favorite subjects, and I think it holds so much of water. Having been a writer myself in this space of women empowerment and feminist literature, doing a podcast where we've had so many guests who've come in and spoken about how tough it is to be a woman and how wonderful it is to be a woman. So was money really discussed when you were a child and at home? Was your mother included in any financial decisions? Were you included, or was it something that you've learned over life that this is very important and it has come to you late? Like for me, for example, I kind of never even ever took the initiative to understand, because my mother was more savvy than than I am even today with money, but I wasn't. So is it something that is naturally with you as a person, or it's come upon you?
No, it never came to me naturally. So growing up again, a very corporate father who only worked. Mother was a housewife, where he, of course, made all the major decisions. Mom was, of course, given the money to run the house, kind of. That's how we grew up. And that's how I honestly continued even after I married. I had my children. Yes, of course, I worked. I did have my salary, but bank it was, and just would, literally go there, withdraw the money and spend where I had to. I think I understood this a lot more when my father suddenly passed away and my mother was 60, quite young. And he suddenly passed away. And I realized that we didn't really know anything that my father had done, least of all my mother, you know. So it was quite a shock for us, because we had to literally pull out. It took about a year, I think, to pull out, all the documents, find out where dad had invested all his money, and figure out where it is. I don't know whether we've still gathered it all. So it was quite a shock. And then suddenly, miraculously, after a year or so, I saw my mom change, where she stopped depending on my sister and me completely. In terms of money, yes, there was, but how she was handling her finances and what she was doing with herself just changed, and she became this super independent woman, who could handle everything on her own. Like, I think she's just my role model. I know it's very cliche to say my mother's my role model,
My mother is my role model too.
but in this case, it literally is,
Yeah.
because how she changed at 60, and it's not easy for someone who's from a village, who's not even finished her schooling, probably just signed a check blindly if my father gave it to her without even knowing what she was signing, to this person who at some point even became the secretary of the inner wheel, which means you're handling a lot more. So I realized, if my mom can do it at 60, I have no right to not know it in my 40s or 30s or 50s. And I don't think anybody else should. They should learn today and not be in that situation to decide, I want to learn
Yeah.
it way ahead.
I'm sure you know what when you're talking finance, the first thing that the emotion that comes in my heart and head is fear. Okay, and I'm sure a lot of women must be so fearful when they try and take decisions as far as investing goes, because you know what, traditionally, in most homes. Women are not really included in any of the investment decisions. It's always what has been passed on to us, and exactly like what you said, that that your mother didn't know. I too didn't know any of the investments that my husband had made. So even today I'm not fully aware of what the investments are. It's just this that now I'm beginning to become aware. So how is it that you kind of deal with fear when especially because what makes it so interesting, Jayshree, that you're talking about to women at the grassroots level where and I always talk about it that it's way more harder there than what we perceive our hardships are all about. So, do you run workshops or have you any plans for that?
We are. So we are starting with, again, basic workshops. There are women who don't even have their own bank accounts. So we're encouraging them to do that. There are, again, small, business there like pickle baking, snacks. But they don't know how to sell it. So we're, teaching them how to sell it. They don't know payment gateways. So we're going to do that for them. How they can get small loans for what they want to start. So we are doing all that for them as simple as possible, because we can't get into bigger conversations with them. But this much we will, that's what I hope to achieve by the end of the year. At least that those who want to start know, okay, this is where I can go get my money. And yes, if I get this, I have my own account. I don't have to hand it over to anybody else. This is what I can do with my money. I want to teach them at least that much.
So you've also said that you feel that women are more capable than than what they. You've also said that women are far more capable than what they think of themselves to be, and I completely agree with you because when I talk about my own self, I think I did not even know that I know how to podcast, that I know how to write a book. In the midst of all my crisis or my situation, because I think we forget what we are capable of. In this entire business of home and hearth. Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about your journey as a woman, and of course I've known you from the time that you've looked after both your children. You've moved cities also with your husband, and obviously career always takes a backseat for so many women like us who have dreams about doing something. And it's now that I see you making these speeches, and today I saw your article, and it makes me feel so proud, like from the bottom of my heart I feel happy when I see another woman do well. um, when did you come about this entire change, in your own self?
So I think the change was very gradual, more really. It's not something that I just woke up to one morning and said, oh, I'm going to be this person. I think the change was very gradual. Um, 30 years ago, I was this very shy, you know, bride who became a mother, who took up a job, I think just to keep the home kind of running and to help with the home. But I think in my journey over the last 30 years, I started meeting women who, at work, outside of work, who I realized were making a difference, not just to their lives, but also to their homes. Like for me, I was doing it as a pastime or something. But these were women for whom it wasn't, it was their livelihood. I mean, I was coming home in a train every day from work in Bombay, and I would see these women cutting their vegetables in the train so that when they go home, they can get to the cooking right away. So that much time they're not wasting. Then I realized they're actually working. And some of the women used to work in Pune and live in Bombay. So they used to come from, they used to go to Pune every morning and come back to Bombay. Here they were doing this, buying all the vegetables, cutting them in the train to go home and cook. So I'm thinking, by the time you do this and you go to bed, it's 10, 11, 12, and then you're up and leaving again at 4, 5 in the morning. And I'm like, if they can do that, I mean, I think anybody can do that. The problem is we have the capability, we have the strength. I don't think I think we just don't trust ourselves to do something. I think we're underconfident about ourselves, which we shouldn't be. We should say. And then I looked at all of them, and I've seen them over the years. So like I said, when I said my journey was gradual, it's because I've seen other women, and I've seen how strong they are and what they can do. And then I'd reflect and say, I am capable of a lot more. What am I doing? Yes, I like being the wife. I like being the mother. I like all of that. But I don't want to define myself that way. I want to see how much I can push myself. What is it that I can do? Am I capable of doing this? So I think it started off trying to prove to myself that I can, do whatever I set out to do. But somewhere along the way, I realized I love it, and it has made me also grow as a person. So I think that was my journey. It was very gradual, but yeah, there were of course struggles, because I think women face struggles everywhere. I think more. I think our biggest struggle is the criticism we face. And criticism is, surprisingly, it comes from your own people
Absolutely. All the time.
all the
Yes.
time. So I think that also sort of pushes you a little harder, makes you stronger. You say, when someone doesn't believe in you, you say no. At least that was me.
For me too, actually, the catalyst has been about always being dismissed for any business plan that I had. And, eventually I started believing that I'm completely incapable of anything. And I think that's where also, just like you, for me also, it's been a reboot, and that fire was burning so badly that it just refused, like how much ever they tried to douse that, it just didn't douse. So I so agree with you on criticism. How has the family been, with you with the new role? Because obviously you must be keeping busy and
So very supportive, I have to say. So Vinod, my husband, has been very, very supportive, always. And he's not anyway someone who's always curbed me to do whatever. You can always do, whatever you feel like it. So he's been very, very supportive. He knows this year I'm not going to spend any time in the house or do anything really in the house, because it takes up a lot of my time. I've taken on the responsibility. I might as well just do it right, or as best as I can. So he knows I'm going to travel. He knows I'm going to be out. He knows I'm going to be on the phone a lot, or my emails a lot. I'm going to be in a lot of meetings, but he's completely fine with that. As far as the kids, and when they're too grown up, my mom, sister, they're all been very, very supportive. The rest we'll see as it goes.
before we end the episode, maybe just a few words about leadership, if you could say, because I do believe that women have so many leadership skills that should be spoken about. And especially when I see you, going out there and talking to a whole room of people, and that confidence that you command to bring it on, and just the fact that even if you've taken on a position today with FICCI Flo, you are talking about the grassroots level women. So it is about empathy. It is about being kind. It is about understanding what, people who are maybe not privileged, what is it that they face. So do you think that leadership, overall, because there are more men leaders than there are women, it's definitely the ratio is much smaller, do you think there should be any qualities that you feel that as a leader, irrespective of gender, should embody, and that's not there?
So I think a leader will be able to achieve nothing unless she has a fabulous team behind her. It's not possible otherwise. So identify the people who can help you, delegate your work to them, trust them. Don't delegate and then boss them, tell them what to do. Trust that they can do as good a job as you want, maybe even better. I think that really is what constitutes. And I know that women can do it. And I think as you're getting older, the equation with women has changed. I think when we're younger, there's a lot of jealousy, there's a lot of backbiting. Each one is trying to be better than
We've
the
all
other.
evolved, Jayshree.
Yes, but today women don't do that. Women are my biggest support. It's nobody else. So I know, like today, if I have a team, I know in no uncertain terms they will do everything to make this, because it's not just my journey, it's their journey as well. So I think to be a leader, you just should be able to delegate, to be able to trust your people, to have absolute faith and confidence in them. And I think that's how you should be.
So before we end this episode, I have to say that, we tend to talk a lot about the subject of leadership, but we don't interrogate our ideas about what qualities a leader should embody. And Jayshree's just done that for us. So here's wishing Jayshree Menon success as the chairperson of Flo Bangalore and hoping her leadership will bring in all the qualities a leader must have. Thank you, Jayshree, for being on today's episode.
Thank you for inviting me here. It was a pleasure talking to you all.
To you, our dearest listeners, you can find us on your favorite streaming services, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and of course on all other major streaming services. With loads of love, we are The Mohua Show, where we talk imandari se.